Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book in the Reckoners series. This is 52 chapters and 416 pages long. I like to think of it as Ocean's 11 crossed with Monsters Inc. Those are two movies, not a book, but it really kind of sums up what's going on after the second book. The Reckoners have always been at odds with the epics. This is almost a bizarro United States in that there are superpowers, but those superpowers are granted and then those individuals are corrupted. So superpowers, but kind of bad guys. And the Reckoner's goal is to have a way to fight back, in hopes that seeing that non-epics fighting and winning against epics will encourage the rest of humanity, the non-epics, to rise up and take back, have a world that was the same as it was before. And now Prof was the leader, or the professor was the leader of this group, and he turns out is an actual epic, so kind of at odds with the goal of the Reckoners. But anyways, he succumbs to madness, darkness, whatever you want to call it. He feeds into his powers. He lets his powers control him. And so now David, the main character, takes over as the leader of the group. Tia's whereabouts are uncertain, and so we go about learning and seeing how things go. The Nighthawk factory is really their last resort. They're out of options, they're out of weapons, they're out of money, and they're hoping that this super technology factory will give them the tools they need to help win, against Prof and take on Calamity. So, Calamity is the red star in the sky, and this was the herald for all the powers. So, Calamity rises in the sky like a star, and then epics start showing up. Now, David has learned a little bit about Calamity from the last book. He was rose on a pillar of water, another epic who could control water, offered to get him closer to Calamity to see that it's not a star, that it is a person up there. And so he's kind of learning that if it's an epic, he can take it out. So the goal of the Wreckers is to fight against epics, and so that fits into the mission statement, and he goes for it. So Megan, Tia, the rest of the Reckoners, their group is now they go to Nighthawk, and then they learn from there that Prof is in Atlanta. Atlanta is a moving city of salt. Every week or 10 days or whatever, the back half crumbles and the new half grows, and it kind of inches along in a slowly growing, moving city. So very creative, very unique. I really liked that. The chapter size was good, and I was engaged throughout the entire book. It was a beefy book for a young adult, but I was able to stick with it and keep interested. And we learn more about what Calamity really is, and he is the final boss, if you will, for this series. So, things I liked, really liked the moving city assault. That was really creative. Each city has been different. Chicago was steel. The new Manhattan Island was water, and this is salt, moving salt. And so the CEO of Nighthawk has these motivators, and this was what I liked, because the first book, Prof is able to gift his abilities, and he hides that by claiming that it's technology. So this is real technology, not a sham, and it is, you collect the DNA, and then the CEO of Nighthawk has technology that replicates the ability based on that DNA. So you can have some powers with these motivators. So it is technology that does the powers. So I really liked that. I was surprised there wasn't more of that, like a way to neutralize the powers. I feel like that would have been the first thing that, scientists would have worked on, but that's okay. And one of my favorite parts about this book was the interactions that they had with the CEO of Nighthawk, and his hiding spot was perfect. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that part. Some things I didn't like. I've said this I think twice already, but it was long. For a young adult series, I picture a 200 or 300 page book to be, about what a young middle school kid, I don't know, young adult could be anyone, but I picture like middle school age. Anyways, getting off track. There was there was really the only thing I didn't like. It was a great series. Brandon Sanderson's a great author. If you enjoy any of Brandon Sanderson, this is still a really enjoyable book. The main character is 18, and yeah, so there's two quotes I liked in this, and the first one is David talking to Megan. "We are moments, Megan, you and me, we're events. Or we're not moments, Megan, you and me, we're events. You say you might not be the same person you were a year ago. Well, who is? I'm sure not. We change, like swirling clouds and a rising sun." So, this is something that as a teenager, as a young adult, you have those pronounced changes. You're changing rapidly, and your personality can change, your activities, your interests, all of it can change, even your attitudes. And so I like that you're sticking to it even though things have changed. That's not true in every case, but for here, I really like that is something that you need to note, that you do change, you do grow as a person, or at least one hopes. So anyways, this next quote, adults working out their problems. This is two group members who are at odds, Megan and Mizzy. So, "They're adults," said Abraham. "They do not need you to work out their problems." So, David, the main character, finds the two not necessarily getting along, but at least cooperating. And that was huge for me, because there are times where not jumping in and helping is the right thing. That is very hard to know ahead of time, but letting things be and letting two people work out their own problems is a thing that can happen and is good to know. So, this is a good book. If you liked the first two in the series, this will be a continuation, and it wraps up nicely. So, if you like Brandon Sanderson, this book is for you. If you like young adult series, this book is for you. If you like superpowers and superheroes, this book is for you. This is almost kind of like a young adult's The Boys TV show, but not quite. Anyways, this was a fun Brandon Sanderson book. Fantasy, set in Atlanta in the US, almost like a Bizarro type of world. Like I said, cross between Monsters Inc. and Ocean's 11. So lots of fun, and remember to buy your books used or digital.